Hi everyone. So in this video, we're going to work through a Year 12 Pure Maths question from the AS 2018 paper. Now, this question is about trig functions, and also using maybe either the sine cosine rule, half AB sine C for the area of the triangle. So just general trigonometry. So we have here a triangle ABC. Side AB has a length of 10, side AC has a length of 5, and the angle BAC is theta, where theta is measured in degrees. It may just be useful for part A of this question, just to draw a triangle, just to draw some kind of diagrams. We can visualize what the triangle will look like. Let's do that down here. So let's call that A there, let's call that B, let's call that C. It doesn't have to be accurate, just a rough diagram. A to B is 10, no, that's 10. A to C is 5, and angle B to A to C, so that's this angle there, is theta. Okay, so we have that. The area is 15, so area of the triangle is 15. Find two possible values of cos theta for part A. But just before we get into the video, I want to make you all aware about a web app that I have created. Now, this app that you see on the screen here is designed to predict the 2027 Edexcel A-level Maths topics that will come up in your 2027 exams. So now that the 2026 exams have finished, we now have access to those questions. So what I've done is I've analysed all of the questions from 2026 back to 2018, and also including the sample and the specimen Edexcel papers. And I've used that data to put together a model which will predict the topics for the 2027 exams. And if we just scroll down here, you will see how accurate this model that I'm using is. So if you do want to have access to the full predictions for the 2027 exams, and also have access to a web app which will generate mock exam papers based on these predictions, that is what you can get if you do sign up to this app. Just go to the link in the description of this video, and also you can get the link to this web app in my bio. Click that link, sign up. You can see on the top right of the page here, you can sign up. Sign up to the app and you'll be able to access all of these 2027 predictions. Okay, so because we're given the area is 15, I guess it makes logical sense to use one of the formulas for the area of a triangle. So hopefully you know the formula half AB sine C, as I said earlier in the video. Let's use that formula and let's just see where that leads us to. So the area will be equal to half AB sine C. Now, in this case, we've labeled the capital A as angle theta on my diagram there. So what you can do, you can say that this is the same as half BC sine A. So remember, to use that formula, you need two adjacent lengths. So the 10 and the 10 and the 5 there are both adjacent, and you need an angle trapped between the two adjacent lengths. So we have that in our question here. So that'll be the area of the triangle. So this will be half times, and then B will be 5. So lowercase b is opposite the capital B. That's lowercase b. And then lowercase c is opposite the capital C. So that's the 10 there. So you have half of 5 times 10 times sine theta. So we have here half 5 times 10. That would give you 25. So 25 sine theta. And we know that's equal to 15. So that's 15 there. Great. So now we can divide by 25. So clearly 3 over 5 is equal to sine theta. Now, how can we use that to work out a value for cos theta, or two possible values of cos theta in this case? Well, hopefully you remember one of the trig identities involving sine and cos, and that would be this identity, sine squared theta plus cos squared theta is equal to 1. Why do you want to use that identity? Well, because if we know what sine is, it's 3 over 5, we can plug that into that formula and then get a result for cos, which again is what the question is clearly all about. Perfect. So let's just sub in 3 over 5 into here. So 3 over 5 squared plus cos squared theta is 1. So therefore, if we scroll down here, so cos squared theta is going to be 1 minus 3 over 5 squared. I'm just going to do this on my calculator. So that gives us 16 over 25. So basically, this is kind of like a quadratic equation in disguise now. So you can let cos theta be y. You basically have y squared equals 16 over 25. Take plus or minus the square root of 16 over 25. Well, cos theta will be plus or minus square root of 16 over 25. So therefore, cos theta is equal to 4 over 5 or negative 4 over 5. And that's our answer there. Just another quick interjection. If you are currently doing Edexcel A-level Maths and you feel that you're struggling or you're falling behind and you're not quite getting that grade that you need to get in order to get into university, or perhaps you're a parent watching this and you're worried about your child's progress, what you can do is you can head to my website. Now, my website is in my bio and also in the description of this video. Click onto the link and you can watch a brief video about me and my background. You see this video on the screen here. In this video, I outline the style and the structure of my tuition. You can also read some of my reviews and testimonials from other parents and students who have worked with me on this website too. So if you feel like one-to-one tuition is something that would benefit you in order to get the grades that you need to get, then again, just head to this website. And what you can do is you can book a free 90-minute call with me. And in that call, we'll spend some time discussing you, your situation, your ambitions, what you want to achieve, the grade you want to get, and why you feel like you're struggling and why you feel like maybe tuition is the right path for you. And we'll also spend some time basically doing a free trial lesson where I will help you out for free with any particular topics or any particular areas of the syllabus that you know you need help with. And by the end of the call, we can then discuss whether one-to-one tuition is the right path for you to get you that grade you need to get. So once again, the link to my website is in the bio and in the description of this video. Perfect. So that's part A done. Now let's go to part B. So given that BC is the longest side of the triangle, find the exact length of BC. Okay, so with this part B, we are now considering all three lengths of the triangle. And I'm going to redraw my diagram because my diagram there is a little bit messy. Let's just redo the diagram here for part B. So again, you got 10 there, you had 5 there, and then some length BC there. So again, that's A, that was B, that was C, that's angle theta there. So BC has to be the longest length. BC needs to be biggest. So we're involving all three lengths in this diagram or in this question. So which rule do we need to utilize? We need to use the cos rule or the cosine rule. So use cosine rule, because remember, the cosine rule is used when you are utilizing three lengths and one angle, but the sine rule is used when you utilize two lengths and two angles. So we need to use cosine rule here with this one. So remember our cosine rule, a squared, sorry, not a squared plus b squared, a squared equals b squared plus c squared minus 2bc cos a, like so. So what we can do is kind of just sub everything into this formula there. So a squared, that would be bc squared, because bc is basically the lowercase a, as we said before. So that's bc squared, and that's equal to b squared, which would be the 5 squared, again, opposite the capital B, that would be lowercase b. And then 10 opposite the capital C is lowercase c, so plus 10 squared. Subtract 2 times 5 times 10. And then cos theta. So A, the angle A is cos theta in this diagram there. Now, again, we want to make sure that BC is the biggest length it can be. If we just simplify the numbers here, I think it will be easier to explain. Let's just simplify our numbers. BC squared equal to 5, well, 25 plus 100 minus 2 times 5 times 10. That would be 100. So 100 cos theta. So this is 125 minus 100 cos theta. So again, if we want to make BC as big as possible, we need to maximize this value of 125 minus 100 cos theta. So we need to choose, so which cos value are we going to choose? Are we going to choose 4 over 5, or are we going to choose negative 4 over 5? Because remember from part A, we had these two options there. Well, to make this BC as big as possible, we want to choose the negative cos value, because minus 100 times a negative number gives you a positive number. So actually, we're going to choose negative cos with this one. Let me just get the rubber back. There we go. So we're going to choose negative 4 over 5, because that gives us the biggest cos value. So therefore, BC squared is 125 minus 100 multiplied by minus 4 over 5. And if we just work this out on the calculator, minus 4 over 5 times minus 100 and then plus 125 is, I've made a mistake on my calculator. Sorry, let me just do that again. 125. There we go. 205, 205. So therefore, BC will be the square root of that. So BC is equal to square root of 205. And I think the question, what did the question say for sig figs? It just said find the exact length of BC. Okay, so that is going to be our exact length of BC there. Yeah, so square root of 205. Can we simplify that? Does 9, I'm just thinking about the square numbers that go into 205. I don't think 9 goes into it, no. 25 doesn't know that there are no other square numbers going into 205. So our final answer is going to be root 205 with this question. Now, do let me know if you've got any comments or queries in the comment section, but hopefully everything in this video did make sense.